Welcome to another episode of Food Hunt. You're going to experience today from kitchen to table an action of a kitchen party straight into Filipino favorites. We are now making Binagoongan pork. And Binagoongan pork resonates from the old Kapampangan region. And really, those that don't like bagoong will change their mind after this recipe. So really, the basic core ingredient in a Filipino home is always pork belly. And everyone has it grilled, always marinated in a soy dish. I'm going to show you something that's very unique. But first, I'm expecting 15 people tonight. And because I want to be reminiscent to the Filipino history and the culture of how we really had it back in the days, I'm using the old Filipino clay pot. Take a look. Look how sturdy that is. And you know what I've done? I've actually just simmered some olive oil and onions and garlic in that so that it will have that aromatic flavor. So that's just the base. You see? We're going to close it to give it more time to sweat. So this is my cooking liquid and as well as the serving area of where I'm going to host this pork. So I have for you here, which has been boiling for an hour, pork belly, which has been cut up. The reason why you need to initially boil pork is because you need to take away all the bacterial properties. And pork isn't exactly the cleanest dish, but the boiling process actually makes everything tender. And anything you boil really over time becomes more tender, not necessarily hard. But the secret doesn't stop at there. So we have the pork belly that's been simmering and boiling through the base ingredients of bay leaves, our laurel leaves that we love so much. And the laurel leaves really act as a nice fragrant for the broth. You're gonna want to keep your pot full of water and maybe 6 to 7 laurel leaves. We're gonna add a little bit of onion. You have in there ginger and garlic. And of course you'll have your pepper, which I've forgotten. So we're gonna put the black pepper in there just to give it a little tang. So while that's simmering, you can do this all simultaneously. The simmering pork, I can see that it's already gotten softened. So I'm just going to take that out of the simmering liquid and I'm gonna let that rest. As you can see in my other pot, I'm gonna fry throughout this whole process. And I have oil that's been in a frying pan. And I put the oil, and you can tell, and you can actually hear the sizzle. The thing about frying, people make the mistake to put the oil and then to actually turn on the heat. But frying is really to get it to its base temperature of a high heat so that your meat or your fish, the oil doesn't get absorbed. So that's really the technique of frying. And you know what? It's lesser in calories. I have in here 1 kilo of this pork belly that's been just roughly chopped up. And that's just gone into a marinated broth. And you can smell it. If you're here, you can smell the perfume. And it's actually so amazing. And it's very, very important that in the very first process, you actually have to boil the pork in a fragrant broth. So I'm going to let that rest while I go back to my clay pot. So you have there, I have a browned clay pot of which I can see already that the onions and garlic have more than sweated and it's browning. So what you're going to do from here, you add maybe a cup of tomatoes, just rough chops of tomatoes. And you're going to let that sit and simmer. Remember that we already have the fragrant seasoning of the onion and the garlic. So that's just going to stew in there. And you know, if you look at it, you can already taste the perfume of that onion and the tomato stewing and simmering. And it's a nice fragrance that you want to keep. Do not overcook. You do not want to caramelize. You want them to just stew and sweat in there. Then we get a little bit of our salt. I like using Himalayan crystal salt. So we have tomatoes and all of them stewing together, maybe for a good 15 minutes. You don't want to make it caramelized, just soften up so that it develops a nice tomato flavor. And then where we go with this is that, of course, the beloved bagoong. You know, there are many bagoongs, and you can have the fermented fish paste, which is possibly a different color, but I choose the one that's been roasted and cooked through already, and that's what we're going to infuse our tomato dish. So equally a good 2 tablespoons, or maybe 3, because remember, no need for salt. This bagoong is pretty much seasoned. And the agent there, when you do that, you gotta put your heat. You can hear it simmering, and you know, as we speak, I can see the bubbles in our frying pan, and that's what you want. But please be very careful that it does that. Oops! Okay, so I've lowered the heat. Remember, the base temperature should be 170, 180, so that way it completely infuses your pork. So guys, don't try this at home. No, really. You just need to be careful. So you got the heat, and you're gonna take a little bit of pork, and you're gonna do this in batches. And that's gonna simmer right there, and you're just gonna drop all the meat in batches, because you do not wanna fill up your pan, because frying really means to crisp something. If you want to let this frying pan not have the oil jump on you, you literally just need to take a cover and just turn it over. So I could see that the sauce with the bagoong, and you can smell it. It's such a fish and perfume aroma that it doesn't sound very good right now, but if you smell it, it is a very balanced and sensible perfume in the air that you could tell it would really match with the pork. So while we're watching this pork getting fried, I'm just gonna cover that in order to have it and turn down the heat while we turn up the heat of the frying pan, and we're just gonna watch this get golden and crispy in front of our eyes. So while I'm hearing the sizzle of the pork belly, I'm gonna start and talk about my adobo puti. You see, the core ingredients of adobo is really just vinegar and soy sauce naturally. However, this procedure right here is up to another level of taste where it is such a unique flavor, because the key ingredient in this adobong puti is using turmeric. You see, you find them in every grocery store, in every market of every household, even up into the mountains, and wherever you are, you can find turmeric. And you know, it's a very bright color. And these properties, wow, talk about chemical infusion and really can heal your body. So this is really, for me, when I talk about adobo and featuring a Filipino dish to guests, international guests, or just guests that just want to have comfort food with, this is my powerful secret ingredient. So, of course, what I have here, everything begins with the chicken, right? So I got some adobo cuts, pork cuts, and I also got some chicken adobo cuts from the grocery in the market. And what I've done is that I've marinated this whole chicken with 1 cup of vinegar. And everyone has their secret vinegar, secret weapon at home. I'm realizing that I want to include my chicken breast. So I'm also going to infuse these chickens with the marinating liquid, which is vinegar. You can use you can use your pinakurat, you know, your favorite one that you have in your home. So that's going to infuse in there. In the same way, what I have here is the turmeric that has been grated, including some onion and garlic, and that's going to marinate and infuse in your chicken prior to cooking. Really simple, guys, really simple. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to give that a good mix. I have my pork adobo in there, I have my chicken cuts, and that's just infusing, and you can see the change of the color already to like a nice orange. So I'm going to include this because I just like my cuts big to impress my guests. And yoo-hoo, I can hear the frying pan go crazy in there. I wonder how our pork belly is doing. And guys, you can do this in 5 minutes, and I tell you, the dish will be done in 20. So it's such a simple method that, you know, you can get down with your hands and massage this babies and shikadoos inside. So I've chosen the vessel, which is the container and the liquid of cooking for our adobong puti, and I'm just gonna let it infuse in there. And we look at that, the color, and I can smell it from here, but oh la la, look at those flavors. So I have the turmeric, and I have the onion and the garlic all just grated in together. And here's another key secret ingredient. You gotta use coconut. Coconut cream, coconut milk, infused. So you have it marinating in such an acidic nature. Really, that's the nature of adobo. Adobo means marination. And in the Philippine context, adobo is suka and toyo. But guess what? This is another rendition. So you have your suka, which is the vinegar, the pickling liquid, and you have your turmeric, which is an antioxidant, very, very, very good for your body. And now the finesse of the dish. You have your coconut milk. See how it just simmers in there? And guess what, guys? After this, you can go pick up your kids. You can do your grocery checklist, or you can do your shopping list, because this is basically 90% done. Get in there, close the lid, put it in the fire, leave it for 10-15 minutes. Voila. You have the perfect, subtle, flavorful, and balanced dish that will wow your guests anytime, everywhere, and into the heart, into the stomach. So let's get that on a high heat. I can smell the bagoong, and that's profusely fuming in the whole household. Wow. So to those that have a preference of having bagoong and not too strong flavors, use 1 tablespoon. You don't necessarily need them. I like my dishes strong with character, and it's got a very sharp edge, and I like it spicy. So guys, let's check on our pork belly, and you see where we're going with that. As you can see, wow, wowee, look how that has gone down and shrunk. You can see it's almost crisping. The skin, you have a lechon kawali on the way. That's gonna simmer into your bagoong marinade. So you want it a little bit crispy, not too colored, because too colored means that it's too hard and too tough on the bite. So you want it a little bit soft where the fat's resonating right there. And guys, look at that gem. Look at that. How that is just gonna infuse like a stew. So this is what happens. You boil it and you fry it, and it gets this intense heat. It's crackling in your mouth. And then you go back to stew. Guess what? The whole combination and the whole chemistry of this dish is gonna infuse with the flavors, and it's not gonna make it so soft. So you'll have a nice bite when you get into that. So as you can see, that's how I want to do it in this beautiful clay pot, and that's ready to go. But because I have a spicy tongue, I'm gonna get some chilies. And you know, you can use any of the local chilies, and I also like using some of the small chili, and that's gonna happen, and we're just gonna chop that up, and we're gonna make into a beautiful, beautiful presentation into our dish. So I'll just infuse all of that together. And because I want to give it that beautiful flavor, take a look at that. We close it, we simmer it just a little bit until we get those flavors to just balance out each other and to make that one wholesome dish. So that's gonna go in 2 more minutes. I'm serving in this beautiful pot. Wow, what more can you ask for? Isn't that already beautiful cultural heritage in honor of our mom's dish, in honor of our grandmother's dish? So 2 minutes and we're ready to eat. So as the sun sets and I can hear the clamor of the of the glasses click as somebody sets the table. I am in awe how a simple dish can make one beautiful, a wholesome flavor in your mouth. So here we are. I am always in love with everything ethnic and anything cultural. And I have kept this pot for years and cooked the Binagoongan pork in here. Take a look, steaming hot, scalding, and voila. I can smell the flavors infusing from the binagoong. So I'm just gonna get a beautiful composition to serve myself. But because tonight I expect a lot of people, I'd like to host this buffet style. It's sizzling. I can see the beautiful colors in the stewing of the pork, the crisp cackle. Take a look at that. Perfection, heaven, flavor, green, red, aroma. So let's taste that right now. You know what it is? When the bagoong cooks for a long time, it doesn't taste like shrimp paste. It starts to act like it's a flavorant, and with the pork and the infusion of the spices, it has a beautiful kick to the mouth, and you gotta have it with rice. So guys, when you're in the supermarket and you're buying pork belly, don't grill it. Don't make it into pork chop. Do something special. Go an extreme, go and experiment and go have fun in your kitchen. Because this way, everyone will thank you for it. Heavenly. Look at that. It looks like a chicken curry, but it really has no impression of that because this is turmeric. And we're gonna taste. Ooh, and the party has arrived. I can hear them. Sour. And this is what the Filipinos love. It's got this sourness and this flavor and such color that it's a beautiful presentation. So take a look at how this looks. We do one chicken. Your Adobong Puti. Beautiful to the bite, full of flavor. Chicken and spice and everything nice. You might want to try this at home. As I wait in quiet anticipation of the guest that's about to arrive, I can't help but sigh as people enter our home and we can show them our heritage, our culture, and everything that we give back from heart to their stomach. So thank you for watching Food Hunt. I'm Kate DeChanco Anzani, and I will continually dig out those heritage recipes so that you will be wowed and you will be praised on your dining table. See you in our next episode of Food Hunt with Kate here on the Island Living channel.